Good evening and welcome to the May 8th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to those that are with us this evening. If you were here for the public hearing, we would appreciate it if you would sign the logbook so that we have names captured of who was here for the hearing. You need to sign it on your way in or on your way out, it doesn't matter. Everything that we will be going over tonight, there are copies of on the desk over there. And the first thing on the agenda is a public hearing to receive comments regarding the proposed 2018, 2019, or the fiscal year 19 annual budget and the town election warrant. So I would declare that public hearing open, and let me start by the last public meeting we went through the warrant. What we'd like to do is just go quickly through what you're going to see as a ballot on June 12th. So we're going to go through that quickly, and then we'll jump back to the various budget sections, and we can work right off from this document that Dave has got on the screen. If you want a copy of the ballot, it's there is a packet over here. What this will change to when you get to the election booth is there will be the third piece of paper here is the water district. So you really don't, other than we're running the election for the water district, it's not part of the municipal election. So you're going to get two pieces of paper when you get to the voting booth that will represent the municipality. You get a third piece for the water district. But this will be the ballot this year. So I'm just going to quickly go through this, and then we'll talk in general. We'll go back to the sections, okay? So page 1, or the first side of the first sheet, will have the election of offices. So as you can see, the only declared candidate for the selectmen is Gordon Littlefield. We have no declared candidate for the RSU 57 Board of Directors for the 2-year term. So we have a vacancy there. We'll have to deal with that after the election if there are no write-ins. And under the RSU 57 Board of Directors, there's one candidate, Jennifer Mayo, for the 3-year term on that. So other than having somebody to write in, this would be...
In order to write them in, they must declare their write-in approval by the town clerk.
Right.
Before you go to vote, and that write-in is going to be legal.
Yeah,
it's got to be declared.
You can write in anyone, but it will only count if the person that is being written in accepts that
and
write-in.
has accepted it before.
I think they had to be declared by April 30.
Not for a write-in.
Not for
a write-in? We can go check that.
Night of the, prior to
we'll double check that, but so there is the ability to write in. So Article 1 is typically, this has all gone through the town meeting process. The warrant, this is exactly how the warrant appears as well. Article 1 will deal exclusively with town government, and as you can see here, there's general government, $401,000. There's a Board of Selectmen salary, $21,500, split up by the 5 of us. Loans and leases, these are typically now, I believe, the only loan we have is Saltshed. The rest of them are leases.
Oh,
or anything that we're purchasing, right? That might be
We lump them all together,
Right.
they're regular payments.
insurance, workman's comp, Medicare, Social Security, all of that we're required to provide for workers, workers' comp, Medicare, and Social Security is a requirement, either federal or state, and the insurances is the health insurance piece of it. That is the health insurance, right?
Yes.
Okay. 628,750, up significantly over last year, but part of that is we brought all of that into one spot this year. Town clerk, you can see that is strictly the town clerk's salary and the miscellaneous stuff under the town clerk, the tax collector, that's just, I'm sorry, those are just salaries, right?
No, that would be their whole,
Oh, their whole department.
whole budget.
Okay. Treasurer, information technology, I guess that would be information technology, the website, all of the stuff that's done, the broadcasting here and everything, that pays for that. Emergency repairs for the broadcasting equipment, it's $12,000 that we put in every year. I don't believe we've used much of it, if any of it, over the past several years. Municipal buildings repairs, hydrant rental, some confusion out there on the hydrant rental. Let me just clarify it by saying it is not how many hydrants we have. We are required by law through the Public Utilities Commission, if we use the water system for fire protection, we have to pay 1/3 of their operating cost. So their operating cost is submitted to the PUC, that's what their rates are created from. So we pay 1/3 of that operating cost. And it's been flat it was flat for 20 years, and then it's been flat for 5 or 6, and now we've seen an increase this year. So we've gone from 21,000 when we started this to now 51,000. But that is 1/3 of their operating costs, not what they have for other extraneous stuff. It's their operating cost budget. General assistance, again, part of that comes back to us from, is matched by the state once we reach certain levels. And then York County taxes, and that goes to the county to support.
Before we leave Article 1, Dwayne, did you get an answer?
Yes,
Go
it is.
up to the, you go to the top of the
Yes,
page,
roll up to
please?
the top of the page.
It is too late at this point because the ballots have been sent to the printer for anybody to declare that they're running as a write-in. So the board will have to take care of it
Okay,
after the election.
so the write-in really is.
I wish we could take it off the
I don't even
ballot.
know why we have it on the ballot.
Yes, we
if
can.
That's the case, but anyway. So let me go to, that's the front page that will take in the elections, and on the second page, which will be on the back of this sheet, and it will be a cardstock sheet that will go through the counting machine. This is all associated with the planning department, Article 2. So we have the assessor, the tax assessor, we have code enforcement, and all of the costs associated with that. We've got the planning board cost, and for those that you don't know, planning board members are paid for their participation. The planning department, and that is some of the secretarial duties, some of the work we are proposing to move away from. We've used a contract planner for the last couple of years, and in this budget we're proposing to go back to a full-time planner. And then the zoning board of appeals, and zoning board of appeals is kind of a roll of the dice because they only spend money when there is an appeal. If there aren't any appeals, they'll spend zero money this year. And I think we bumped that up only because there was some activity this year, more than the 2225, right? Article 3, this is all about the library, so everything associated with library and recreation, library and recreation. So everything that is run down at the library is $103,953, and Recreation is 278,545, and the recreational budget, when it comes right down to it, probably 70 or 80,000 of it is taxpayer seed money. The rest of it all comes in fees. The fees don't cover 100% of it, but probably all of it.
More like 100 from the taxpayers, I think.
So they're in that range.
That's the same thing as Article 2, Code Enforcement and Planning
Right.
Board and
Code
ZBA.
enforcement, same thing, code enforcement. What you don't see there is the revenue that comes in. We'll talk about that at the end of this thing, the approval of the revenues. Okay. Article 4 is the transfer station, public works, which is the roads, and capital improvement programs. So the transfer station is $470,000, up from $445,000. Lion's share of that is we are sending more tons to EcoMaine than we have in the past. And for those of you that may frequent Facebook, we posted an issue out there from EcoMaine, which we're an owner of, by the way. We're one of the 21 towns that own that operation. There's a lot of waste showing up in the recycling stream. And the more waste that shows up in the recycling stream, the towns are going to be charged back for that. So if you're recycling into the single sort, just make sure that it's all recycling material. So, but that will drive that number up a bit as we go through the year. But right now it's 470. Public Works is all of the snow plowing, sanding, all of the road projects, road maintenance, the paving that's involved. And then the CIP is Old Alfred Road and the roof.
That's 300. That's about 300 of that 399.
Okay, so the lion's share of 80% of it is in two projects: the roof on the fire station and the repaving or whatever we're going to do to Old Alfred Road.
Yeah.
At this point, we'll see, I guess, depending on if the state's going to participate. The rest of it, the 99,000, is some miscellaneous stuff that we buy under anything over $5,000 typically goes under a capital acquisition. Article 5 is all public safety. So public safety, $933,000. EMS is 114. EMS is just the emergency medical services piece of it. The lion's share of it all gets paid for under the public safety total. Like some of the other accounts, there's a significant amount of money that comes back into this account from rescue billing. And we'll see that as we look at revenues later. Roscommon Fire Department comes into this. This is a three-way participation between Waterboro, Shapley, and Alfred. And then the contract deputies with York County Sheriff's Office. For those of you that remember, we now have two that work, both work 40-hour work weeks. I think that they stagger the bulk of their work week.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got 80 hours out there of contract deputy work.
The thing with that is people got to realize that each one of them sheriffs isn't getting 100,000.
Right.
There's a vehicle and other
There's a vehicle.
insurances and all kinds of other
All of the costs
hidden
associated with
costs
it.
there.
We pay everything.
We pay all the retirement and everything else.
14% retirement.
Okay, so again, the vote, as you can see, is down in the lower, and it is on all of these. I missed it on the other two. But the next sheet of paper, which will be Article 6, and I don't believe these will be stapled when you go in. I think the machine only accepts unstapled product, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm looking at Bob over there because he's,
I don't think you can
yeah.
take this stuff in.
so the next piece of paper will be actually, probably should page 2 of 2 or
Sheet 2.
sheet 2, yeah.
Yeah.
See if the town will vote and raise appropriate selectmen's recommendation of $85,000 for miscellaneous committees, old home days, agencies, so all of the committees within the community. That number rolls up to $72,000, and the miscellaneous agencies is $13,433. And what drives the increase from 47 to 72?
You had a significant increase in old home days, and I think there's a committee in there that wasn't in the
Wasn't funded
previous
before.
year.
Well, EDC is back in there, right? I mean, we've got them in there.
Yeah, but they don't have any funding because they still have quite a bit of money left over. We didn't fund them.
There's gonna be something on the budget sheet that jumps out there.
I think we had a carryover from old home days from the year before, so it wasn't in the
That's
budget
it.
Right.
last year.
Right, it wasn't in the budget
Wasn't in
last
the
year.
And that's
That's
a
right.
$20,000.
You're right, you're absolutely right. There was enough money because they skipped a year. That money
carried over.
was a carryover.
We didn't fund them this year.
Article 7 really doesn't represent money, but it represents an approval. All of the snowmobile registration money, I shouldn't say all of it, but a fair amount of that comes back to a certain percentage. It comes back to the municipality. We have always used that for fire roads, and it is spent under the direction of the fire chief, public works, and a representative of the snowmobile club. Most of the time, the snowmobile club does most of the work, right? Although we would put some gravel down and miscellaneous stuff there. But, I mean, that money is typically spent every year. Yes, sir.
Would it also, does it also apply to ATV
No, it does not. ATVs are a different animal, and that money does not come back to the towns. So they have, on occasion, had grants of their own, but it's not the same formula that works for snowmobiles. So,
It's actually not the same trail.
right.
Either.
Theoretically, they have different trails, even though they share some of the trails.
Yep.
Article 8 and 9, we have to, even though the state sets this rate, we have to ask the voters every year to charge 8% on delinquent taxes and rebate 8% on any taxes that we have collected in excess of what was due, and that might have come from an abatement or whatever the case may be. So this is just a verification of what we can charge. It's set by the state, so I'm not quite sure why we have to go through this every year, but we do, and we've always done it at town meetings. So, and then we also have to have an article to allow the treasurer the tax collector or treasurer to accept prepayments of taxes not yet committed. So, and that again is covered under 36 MRSA, or Maine Revised Statutes Annotated, Section 506. 11 is Public Works Director, and with the input from the fire chief or contract deputy, it's against state law to expend town funds on private roads. However, we have seen situations where a private road may be iced up or whatever, and there is an emergency. And the only way that we can get emergency vehicles onto that road is to actually expend some funds on it, be it sanding or whatever the case may be. So we have included this article for years in the town meeting warrant to allow that to happen, but only happens when there's collaboration between the public works director, the fire chief, and or the deputy, other contract deputies.
9 times out of 10, this is gonna be done within 15 or 20 minutes from
Right.
the time we have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
got to be,
it's-
there's a piece of emergency equipment headed somewhere, and it can't get down the road because of ice issues. Typically is what we've seen. Article 12 is again another standard vote that has to take place, and that's just to see if the town will vote to accept the reports of the municipal offices for the year. The back page of the second sheet, another housekeeping thing that happens every year is to allow the town to vote to authorize the municipal offices to accept gifts to the municipality and expend the same, and make application for and execute any documents required for various grants from the state or federal government, as well as individuals, private charities, foundations, etc., etc. So if someone wants to donate to the municipality, we'll say for fuel oil for needy folks, we cannot accept that gift without permission from the voters to do that. So that's typical why this is in here. Also, if there was a federal grant or town, state grant that came up, this gives us the authority to apply for that.
Or accept it.
This article is typically one that we see up front at a normal town meeting, or standard live town meeting, if you will, and that's to see if the town will vote to zero all credit balances as of June 30th in all departments of the town, excluding the following, and these typically are accounts that go from one year to the next, so we just don't roll them out zero. We carry that money forward so that we don't have to raise as much potentially in the following year. So naturally, the community gardens, so if they have any money left, they like to keep whatever's there. Old home days, I think we've seen, a perfect example was earlier where they didn't have one 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, I'm sorry, and we had enough money that was rolled forward so that we could apply that to last year's budget, so we didn't have to raise any money. EDC, the town roads accounts, the paving account, so if paving all doesn't get done, those kinds of things. Donations, municipal building reserve funds, those all get carried forward.
That's brand new. We talked about starting that.
The municipal building reserve fund. Right.
Selectmen started that with $10,000 this year, I think it was 10, and intend to hopefully let that grow so that it can be substantial, and we can use that to pay more cash for a piece of equipment perhaps in the future,
Or
rather than borrow.
Or like we've had in the case of the library where a boiler went, and you have to have some reserve fund to pull that from, rather than just pulling it out of the operating cost.
Yeah, we had a 14-month-old boiler that died. It cost us something north of $13,000. We did get some insurance back. And then we had the generator go here in a windstorm, and we had to pay everything for that. So that was almost $5,000.
And in Article 15, which I believe is the last article that you see to be voted on,
Yes.
this is all of the revenues that we intend to use in this budget. And this does not include taxes, so this is the municipal department revenues, which includes all of the stuff from the planning board or code office or all of those things. When people come in and pay certain fees here, it all goes back into this. Excise tax and rapid renewal. See, that's a big piece. It's $1.4 million. And when I came in tonight, there's 3 or 4 new cars out here with 2-week plates on them. So the excise tax probably is going to be collected higher this year than what we had anticipated. We talked a little bit about general assistance being reimbursed from the state. If we spend the 36 that we have budgeted, the reimbursement from the state would be 20 coming back to us. If we don't spend the 36, the 20 will be less. But that's ultimately just dedicated to that fund. $800,000 from undesignated, as we call it, the fund balance or surplus. In this current year budget, we used $500,000. We have traditionally used between $350, $4. This last year we went to $5 because the fund balance was was healthy. We did that and the fund balance still grew. So we're tapping 800 this year. The rescue billing account, fees is again, as I mentioned in the rescue and the other public safety piece of this. There's fees that come back. There's $310,000 in rescue billing fees that come back. Then we get a roadblock grant from the Maine Department of Transportation, which is $81,500. That's a set amount. We have the annual subscription, annual ambulance subscription fee that people subscribe to. That represents about $15,000. We collect about $100,000 in transfer station fees. That's for permits. That's for people that have to pay to get rid of certain items up there that cost us to get rid of them. So that 400 and 477, I think, was the budget. So 100 and 250 comes back. Yeah, so Article 4 was 470. So out of the 470, 100,000 would come back. And then cable TV franchise fee, Time Warner Cable, now Charter Communications or Spectrum is the exclusive cable TV in this municipality. So they pay us a franchise fee, which is really a percentage of their subscribers, and that's $76,000 that come in. That money goes back into the IT account, pays for stuff that we do here, broadcasting the show, it's a show, all right, it's Selectmen's meetings, and any other stuff that we record and broadcast. So we're going to use an estimated amount of revenues of $3.8 million, and that's not including property tax. Property tax will be above and beyond that. This also doesn't show what the school budget is, which is now estimated at $6.4 million.
8.5.
I mean, $8.5 million.
Our share.
So that's our share of the portion of RSU 57. So with that, we're going to be about 6.4 total to run the municipality plus the 8. So out of 15 million, we're going to use 3.88 out of fees and revenues that come in, and the rest will be out of taxation.
11.2.
So somewhere around 11.2. And that again is not totally resolved, because when the assessor gets done pulling all of the new growth permits and everything else, or the new construction, that will go into this formula of what is the town worth from a total real estate worth and whatnot. And I think we looked at, last year we had 35 new homes and we saw about 8.4 million. We're running about 4.5 million since January, right?
Right.
This runs January to January.
Yep.
So, so we're seeing substantial growth in the last 2 years is going to be about 12 million in new construction, which kind of goes back to the other myth that kind of hangs out there, is that the town's not growing. And I think you'll find that when the census comes around in 2020, you'll see that we're well over 8,000 people. And some estimates have got us at 7.7 or 7.8 now. So a whole different picture than back when I was a kid here and there was 1,900 people in town. So a different mix. So let's go back, David. I'm sorry. The third piece of paper will be the water district, and if you are east of Federal Street, Middle No. Ospey Hill Extension, Ospey Hill Road, Townhouse Road. If you are east of that, you are in the water district, and you will be given this to vote on. So it's not just the people that use water, it's anybody that's in that geographic area. They have a right to vote.
Including Beaver Ridge.
Right, and Beaver Ridge is in there. So everything all the way to the town line.
On the Townhouse Road.
On the Townhouse Road, both, yeah, we didn't separate one side of the road to the other. It's whoever's on that road, right? So whether you live headed towards Hollis on the left or right, you're in the district. So if we roll back up, Dave, to Article 1, and I guess I would ask if there are any questions in the audience relative to general government. We're up from 2.1 million, 2.15 this year to 2.2. So you're 50, 60, or $60,000, $61,000, $62,000 up on 2.2 million. General government does have a built-in COLA pay raise to the employees of 2.5%. I think we've had a discussion around in a number of areas. I think we had it at the last public hearing relative to health insurance benefits, of what we pay, and what we pay for people not to take it, which is a net cost savings to the town. That is all baked into this. So any questions, comments? Yes.
Yes.
Could you state your name for the record here anyway?
Sure. Loretta Zuger.
Okay.
And my question does involve the $7,200 stipend that you would give to employees that opt not to have insurance. Is that something normal? I'm not familiar with that.
We've been doing it here probably for 15, maybe 20 years. It hasn't been as high. That went up 4 or 5 years ago to the number that it's at now. But we've done it for a fairly long time in this municipality.
Should that be revisited?
I think, when you net it out to what it would be if everybody said, okay, if it's available and I got to take it, I'm going to take the full vote because it's a net savings to the town. If they don't take it, they have to prove that they're on their spouse or significant other's insurance. But we do pay that out. And it's been at $6 a month for, how long, Julie? 13, 12 or 13?
Longer than I've been here, so before.
It was on 12.
This started when the union was here, so it's
This
been
goes back to 2007.
7, yes. And it's been at 6 for at least 5 to 8 years. And I'm
It
not-
started at 4 or 5.
5, right. And then when the insurances went up so much, that went up also.
So we've done it. We've changed the whole structure of the insurance here in the town. Gary's done a real good job working with Maine Municipal and the employees here because everybody jumped to the high deductible, but we have X amount of dollars set aside in a reimbursement account so that if you don't, if your high deductible doesn't cover something, you can go back to the reimbursement account to get that. And I think you had the numbers in the last public hearing. There's a significant savings if you look at, okay, somebody took it. I think we've got 4 or 5 people that are on it now, versus what it would be if, in fact, they were on the regular insurance.
And it can be up to over $13,000 in total cost to the town for a single employee for their premium costs, plus if they use all their $4,500 in what we call out-of-pocket now. So you're trading $600 a month or $7,200 a year to eliminate a $13,000 exposure potentially if they used all their benefits, if they did not have a healthy year. Now, not everybody spends all of that, but some do. We've got a gray-haired crowd here that's using more and more services all the time. So it is a benefit. The 600 is above average for municipalities. I've been saying that for quite some time, and it was 400 here 6 or 7 years ago before I got here. So that's something that the selectmen can change. It's in a policy. It's not an ordinance, so they can revisit that at any time if they want to.
And does the town pay 100% of the insurance premium for those people?
At the present time, yes.
And is that going to be revisited as well?
Well, I've already suggested that, because when we started with this high deductible plan, the premiums were in the low to early 500 a month. They're now over 7. And I think for future hires, we're going to have to do something different. The increase that's up there in the health insurance, a good portion of that, about 30,000 of that, we have six families now, or four? We have 6, I think.
4, I believe.
4. Well, what we did a year ago was we decided that we weren't doing anything for family health coverage. So we met people halfway, going from the single employee premium cost to the family. That's about a $10,000 jump. When my wife was on my insurance, it cost an extra 10 grand. It's about 11 now. So that's $5,000 per employee that wants to insure their family here. So Board of Selectmen Budget Committee made a conscious decision to do that as an employee incentive. And our salaries are certainly not above average here for much of the town, but in terms of health insurance, that's a real draw, and it's a retention tool.
If you go back 8 or 10 years, insurance premiums have gone nothing but up, right? We went to a 90-10, I think it was a 90-10. When that became way up, then we fixed it at, what, $9,200? I think it was $9,200. We said, no matter what happens to the insurance, the town's only paying $9,200, okay? Now, when we went to this high deductible system, that now what we were paying was well below the $9,200, so we could cover 100% of it. But, you know, the employee takes a high risk now, right? That they're going to come back to the pool, the reimbursement pool, right? To get reimbursed if in fact they spend more than that. It's worked out well. I think net we've sort of saved money every year over that because we don't use 100% of the potential risk pool, although any given year you can use more than the risk pool. That's the exposure that the town has. So I think we do a good job, in my opinion, of looking at insurances on an annual basis to say, what is it we got to do this year? We always have to certainly be cognizant of the employee, because I think we want to retain good employees. And naturally, we don't want to necessarily, as some people would say, give away the farm. But I think we've got a pretty good balanced thing here, and I think that there's been a lot of work done with Maine Municipal Association actually covers us, right, or it's through them. And there's a lot of municipalities that are on that. Some have much higher cost plans than we do. And we offered this, and I think every employee took this.
I guess one other point, if Washington, D.C. doesn't change the Affordable Care Act after these midterm elections, I don't think it's going to change in this next presidential term, but they could make a significant impact if that law changed and brought some market reforms in. If that doesn't happen, I envision the next 1, 2, or 3 boards of selectmen here are going to entertain doing something that's just what you said, that new hires would pay 10 or 20% of the coverage that they get. Taxpayers can only take so much, and the costs are going right through the roof. Point's well taken.
Thank you.
Okay? Any other questions, comments?
I think Richard had his.
Richard?
Did you have your hand
Oh, you know, I was thinking something.
up? You raised your hand, I thought.
No, but I will ask something I was thinking about. Now, these articles have more than one cost or different things. So you have, if you don't like one thing, you have to vote no for everything. This is
If you think one piece of it is too high, then and you say that, no, I don't agree with that, then you're gonna vote no, okay? We didn't want, the last thing we wanted to do is to have you in a voting booth for 2.5 hours, going through the typical, I mean, we have 56 articles in a warrant,
Yeah.
right? Because you'd have pull out all those departments by themselves. And there's some rationale for putting them together when you look at general government, when you look at public safety, and when you look at those things. So that was the rationale to try to condense this thing so that we didn't, you know, and I agree, you run the risk of, okay, well, I disagree with one of these, so I'm going to vote no. Unfortunately, then it all goes down, right?
So now we have a town meeting without discussion.
That's right.
That's what the voters decided.
And I know you were real in favor of that.
What? I was
No, I
in favor
know.
of keeping the
I
town
know
meeting.
you wanted to keep the old traditional town meeting. So the risk is here is that you let, and we struggled last year, I think, to have 50 people at town meeting. We've had as low as 35, and you know, in most recent years. But so you're voting on a $6 million budget with 35, 40 people. Now, when you go to the voting booth, at least people have the opportunity. Now, okay, and the reason we're having 3 public hearings is we're trying to get as much of the word out as we possibly can. There's a ton of stuff out around town. I understand that most of that stuff probably finds its way to the trash, but I think that, you know, I mean, when we're trying to run these public hearings, you know, over again in the on the cable network, I'm not sure how many people are watching, but all we can do is try to get the information out there.
Can I touch on that, please?
Yeah.
Things have changed. We don't have everything coming together in that town meeting. I love the town meeting form of government. I grew up in it. But it wasn't working here. The people said we needed to change. Now that comment period for you and everybody else to comment on the budget committee starts meeting in January for 10 weeks, give or take. You've got all that time, and you've got a couple of meetings in late March or early April for the selectmen. So you've got months of time. And that's going to be difficult for people to get in here and comment on something they haven't seen a whole lot yet in terms of a finished warrant or finished budget. But you've got to take all that concentrated Saturday in June pent-up desire to talk about the budget and distribute it over the winter and make your thoughts known to this board, budget committee, myself, whatever. It's different. It's not wrong. It's just different and spread out.
Julie,
I'd like just make the
are you a
comment.
citizen of the town of Waterboro?
No, I'm not, but I'm your deputy treasurer, but make the comment that if people have got questions on the budget committee meetings, they were taped and they are available on the website for any in-detail questions. That's all.
And those would include the department heads coming in and having the discussions, answering the questions that the budget committee members might have had. They're not, I mean, it might be like watching paint dry, but the fact of the matter is that it's a long, tedious process.
Not a lot of attendance there.
A lot of information, though.
Right.
And you can wade through it.
So David, roll up.
I would like to say
Yep.
something. I would like to commend Tim Neal, because Tim came to every single budget meeting and attended them, and there were 10, and there were lots of hours, and there were lots of work to be done. And he did this, sometimes leaving to go to another committee meeting.
That's
So
true.
we appreciate that you came and sat through all of that and
Thank you.
heard what we had to say.
Okay. Let's go quickly to just the money articles. I don't have to go to the other stuff. Any questions on Article 2, which brings in the assessor, code enforcement, planning board planning, and the zoning board of appeals?
You have a question, can you elaborate a little on what's going on here?
Real quick.
As you
Donna.
know, I have a problem with the assessing department and the money that we don't have enough personnel. That, now, I understand that we could actually, you could add another article in the warrant. You have until, I guess, the 12th of this month if you wanted to. But the 2-day-a-week assessor is not working out. I mean, we knew from 3-day with assessors that it wasn't, we at least needed another clerk to work in that department to get the information in. What can be done now, because we're gonna go through another year with a 2-day-a-week assessor, and all this information is
Well,
not
I think
getting.
you just need to be careful, Donna, and say, when you say it's not working. Because
No,
I-
information is not getting inputted, because our assessor isn't a clerk to input this information in. And we don't want to pay her to
So
do
we
that.
don't, we have the flexibility, I think, with what's here, if we need to bring someone in to work with Shirley to
Shirley.
input, I think that's just maybe shuffling people, okay? To get somebody, it's not, I mean, somebody's gonna come up to that, okay? But I think we're certainly aware of what that is, but
But can we do that in the course of the coming
I
year
think
without it being?
I think we can attack that during the course of the.
But what information's not getting inputted?
Well, the tax cards aren't being updated. I mean, when somebody buys a house, it goes through the county deeds send the information here, and that goes into our tax rolls, so we get to tax them. But all the information isn't being updated on the tax cards. There's a tax card that goes with each piece of property
Do
that
we even
tells you.
use the tax cards anymore, Shirley?
We don't use the manual ones, but the information does get updated. Actually, Tammy,
Could you come up to the mic so everybody could hear, please?
This is Shirley
Bartlett?
Bartlett, our assessor.
Tammy actually has done most of that input. And so it is getting in there, but if you look at the tax card online, you're not going to see it, because they reflect what was committed the year before, last year. So that's not going to show. If you
So,
come
but what I
in,
mean is that the general public can't look up that information if they want to have access to that information.
no, and even with another person on board, they wouldn't be able to do that.
Because it's-
But they
it's-
could come in, they could come into the town.
What you're
I
gonna
mean,
see
the thing
is
is,
that,
in other
what
towns-
you're gonna see is and other towns are the same way. April 1st is the deadline. If you buy something after April 1st, okay, you are not gonna see that on the card necessarily until on the website until the next year when we put out the commitment card, right?
That's correct.
So,
But the case I brought up in point at the workshop was there was a house that was sold in September of 2016.
Okay.
So technically, that information
Should have
on
been
that
on.
tax card should be there, and it's not. It doesn't have the current owner. Now, other towns, you can go to their Visions or whatever software they're using, and you go in and you can check whatever property there is. You can check who has bought it, each seller, how much they bought it for, and what's it's assessed for. And we are falling behind. This is something that, when cost cows were here, this is what they were trying to update. So what I'm saying is we're falling behind.
well, I think everything is being input, whether or not.
Everything's in there. I
Whether or not
don't-
it's live on the website.
No, and I don't think Dave and I updated last year's. I don't know if they were done the year before. And I have had people call, and they have asked that question. They said, well, the current card isn't online. So I don't know exactly what was the last time that was done. So, but that is something that we can make sure
And
that gets done
interesting,
every
the
year.
Malone property is one. If you go to the tax card for the Malone property, he's the only person that's listed. It doesn't show who he bought the property from. And that was only 14 years ago.
Well, in a lot of instances, we don't show.
We might not have the
No.
information.
We don't show that
Right.
information.
Because it's all paperwork that's
If
been.
you want that information, just quickly go to York County Registry of Deeds online, and you can get that information to find out who we bought it.
This is the
But it doesn't
problem.
give all the information.
I understand that, but
And
this-
you have to go through every
But
step.
but the system that we have, all right, we're working through Trio, is not gonna tell you that anyway.
Because we don't own those modules, is that part of the
Well,
reason
if-
that all that information can't be there?
No, we own the modules, but I think what's happened in the past, before I came here, and maybe the consuls did this, with Dave, I think they scanned every
Right,
card
they scanned every card.
and put it on, which is quite a process. I think you can go through Harris. I think that, and I can look into that, and there's a way to go through Harris and see the current year's tax cards without going through that process. And
But even the Harris, which Buxton uses,
yeah,
when you
no,
pull
they
it-
don't use Harris. They don't have Trio. They have a different system.
Okay, I thought they did. Thought it was Harris.
I'll check. I don't believe so, though.
I believe they're back on, oh yeah, they are back on Harris. They
Yeah.
went to Munis and then they dumped that. and came
Right,
back.
I think they're
Okay,
back
so
on.
maybe they are.
And there's no history. It just says, here's your current,
There's no history. It's a report that you print off, so you don't see the history of the assessments that you would see
and I
on the
think
tax
what
card.
you're talking about is a lot of municipalities have the GIS system, which has more of that data, which that data would have. And I think we had this discussion during at least the budget committee in the selectmen's meetings, was that, a day a week or whatnot, it's gonna make that difference. That will become a project that we're gonna have to hire somebody to come in and do. If we wanna update to a newer module, right, we're gonna have to go through this. Dave scanned every card, which was a fairly lengthy process, but it was a dedicated project, right? And we would have to do that again to make it live. And I think that's what you're looking for, is want to be able to go online and, okay, this is what people paid for it, and, York has that, I don't know, some of the other municipalities have that as well.
There's quite a few. I don't know who has the software for the Visions. Visions is the
Vision
software.
is a software in itself.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
And more details. It has more
very
details.
much.
Right.
Yes.
And that may very well be plugged in by, or how they plug it in. We just
Yes.
need to, if we're gonna get to that level, it's a different scenario than what we've got today.
Donna, have you sat with Shirley to talk about these things? Have you-
No, if you'd like to come in sometime, we can look at all those options.
I would suggest you do
If
that.
you got, if you got some examples, then certainly bring them in, because I think Shirley certainly does enough towns, and seen enough softwares, you could probably
Yes.
tell you exactly how some of that stuff works.
Yeah, Vision is normally used for like the bigger towns and cities. Trio is probably a better fit for this size town.
I know that some years ago there was a major discussion
Well, we
when they
talked,
went to Trio, on people who said, let's use it, let's not use it, what
well,
else is
that was,
out
I
there.
think that was the Trio assessing module. We had
Yes.
some discussion over, right?
But remember, we also talked about this, that there was an application process. We had interviews to hire a full-time assessor. We tried to do that, going on 2 years ago now. And the pool for talented, experienced assessors is very low. Shirley had the most experience with Trio. We had many applicants there who had never even used our Trio software. And I had to make a call of whether or not we were going to, we had to do something less than 5 days a week because we couldn't afford somebody with the experience of Shirley.
Doesn't mean that the pool doesn't have talent. The pool does have talent. There's just a limited amount of them that go into that pool, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, we also didn't go out and advertise. We only used the Maine Municipal Association pool to put our advertisements in. We didn't go out to Portland Press Herald, Monster.com, or used a statewide program to advertise for this job.
Maine Municipal is a statewide program.
I know it
Okay.
is, but it's still,
And
you're
it's
still
for
not.
anybody that's looking for a municipal job. Guess where they're gonna go first?
Well,
Maine
I don't know,
Municipal.
Shapley and Newfield are looking for code enforcement officers,
Yep.
and they're in the newspaper.
Little different situation.
We don't use
It is.
Portland Press anymore. They're too expensive. They're just hideous.
Well, how expensive?
Oh my gosh, it's much more than the local papers.
$300-400 a day.
What's that?
$300-400 a day.
Just don't think it's
So if
wise.
you put something, what about their digital site, because they have a digital site?
Yeah, you gotta pay for the
It's
paper
any
side,
cheaper.
and then you get the digital for free, as they would call it.
I don't think an assessor looking for work would look there. They look on Maine Municipal site first. So I think that is probably the better place.
But I don't want viewers at home to think we didn't try, and because we did. We had interviews. We advertised for the position. We interviewed several people in this room, and it just didn't work out, and I had to make a decision with the limited funds that we had to hire Shirley for X days a week. She's very experienced. She's very talented. She works for many other towns, and I think she's doing a good job here for the time that's here. Sure, it would be great to have her for 3 or 4 days a week. But that's going to double the budget.
But what you're looking for isn't going to happen without a significant addition in software, and then it's going to be an all manual feed, or unless Trio can magically come up with a way to merge something into another system. But
You mean the GIS connection or the Trio?
right. Well, I think what you're talking about is Vision, right? Which is a software that some
Yeah,
municipalities.
we can't afford to make this change over to a different software, which is, don't have
But
the
there might be
hundreds of
there
thousands.
might be some modules that Trio has that might give more information. Then it's just a matter of what are we putting in. And again, we'd have to attack it of, we got 4,500 parcels, there's 3,300, real estate that have real estate on them, and go from it that way. So
But when you find those things, please call her or call me, and we'll talk them through, because everything's different in the assessing building permit world.
okay.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Anything else on assessing or?
Code enforcement, there's been a significant, well, not all that significant, but substantial, I guess I would say. With the busier economy we have, the code officer's gone to 40 hours from 36 to 40. He's going to work 4 10-hour days, so that's a good portion of the bump there. Planning board the same. Planning had $50,000 for a contract town planner and an economic development committee liaison. There was $35,000 set aside for the contract town planner, who worked with the planning board, who worked with planning and code staff to staff the planning board meeting. And that $50,000 will be removed from Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission, and we'll augment that with another 20, I think, and to try and hire a town planner who will, that won't be their salary, I hope, but I think maybe it was 80 for salary and benefits. To find somebody to do both the town planning work as well as the economic development outreach here.
In the fallback position, if that doesn't materialize, is that we will continue to engage in contract with Southern Maine.
I mean, the same thing could happen on a scenario with the assessor, is that we may not find the ideal planner person that we want, because the pool out there for trained and experienced planners is not all that great.
Okay? Library and recreation, actually, we came down a bit in recreation. Some of that money went to Public
DPW.
Works, because there's going to be a swap of who does field maintenance and those kind of things. Instead of having recreation department run around and worry about what's getting mowed, it's going to come under Public Works. Article 4, the transfer station, Public Works, and the CIP. For those of you that don't know, this is the first, we're going into the first time in a lot of years that Foglu Incorporated has not plowed the roads in Town-owned Waterboro. And they have, I won't say retired from snow plowing, but they get out of that business. We have a new contractor that we've already selected, so there is an increase in that process there. And as you know, we last year made the switch over to a full-time Public Works director. David Benton is the director, so there's a lot more things that are getting picked up, and loose ends that are being tied up, and projects that are being worked. So you'll see a significant difference there in the amount of paving that we're trying to get done, and the amount of reconstruction and maintenance that we're trying to do.
And about 100,000 of that was a new plow contract.
Right. Fire department, public safety, EMS, as we said before, the the rescue billing will come back in at about $300,000 to help offset some of that $1,400,000, no, $1,040,000, right? And then, you know, like I said, the contract deputies and whatnot, they're part of that as well.
They don't make any money for us.
Is there one other money article? Next one down. And that's the committees and the agencies. Any other comments or questions, or we're going to have another public hearing? Yes, Dan.
I have a question on the rec.
Name?
Annette McFarland.
Okay.
What?
Okay, what's the question?
Why is he getting paid $54,000? It's here in this.
Yep.
I think it's way too much.
That's what the previous director was making.
But I think it's really a lot of money to
Okay.
be paying, seems. I can't even afford to put my kids in the rec, my grandchildren. It's expensive.
In the Carnegie, the before and after school, you mean?
No,
Or the summer
there
camp?
are other things. I mean, I think it's way too much money. Does this come out of my taxes that I pay?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's way too much money for me to be getting. I mean, I don't even make that much.
Okay. Well, the salaries there is he's a director of public works. We made some other adjustments in salaries there, but we also cut down a person. So we did not replace a body when we replaced the
I just
last
think it's a
public
lot
works
of money
director.
to be paying for.
And again, I think that we
And
try
it
to
doesn't
be,
benefit all the children in town. It only benefits a certain few that can afford it.
well, it doesn't just benefit kids, it benefits some of the elderly programs and everything else that they do as well.
But I
So,
just think it's an awful lot of money for 40 hours.
But that's just it. He works probably averages 60.
Well, you know, we all work over too. I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel
Well,
it's a
we
lot
certainly-
of money when our roads is just repair and not being fixed, but we can pay out this. And that's my complaint.
yeah.
I mean, you guys come up and skim coated my road last year. It's all broke up and nasty again. I mean, our roads need to be fixed. A wreck is not a big thing to me.
What do you think it should be? Do you have a figure? Can you-
About $30,000. You live on my income and you'll understand why.
Yep.
Understand.
I mean, my taxes go up. I've had to redo my house twice to pay my taxes. Remortgage my home because I was going to be forced to lose it because of the taxes. My house right now is valued at $129,000. It's not even worth that. It's worth $68,000 because I had it reevaluated. I mean, right there. I mean,
Okay?
Okay, back to the rec budget and to her comment. As a budget committee member, I proposed a salary of $45,000, which I thought was fair, because he does not have the experience that our former rec director had, and he's just starting out. He was only making $32,000 last year.
For part of a year.
For part of the year, but he was down at a level that's what he was making as an assistant. Now he moved up into that position. He no longer has responsibility for the parks section of Parks and Rec, which was a great deal, making sure the Lions Club field, the Friendship Park, Bob Fay Park, Gobeal Park, all of these were maintained. Now, and Mike did it after 15 years of working his way up, developing these programs. He's just stepping into it. Instead of giving him, starting him off with a good salary, not $30,000, but starting him off at something like $45,000, letting him work a year through that, and if he does superb work, then a merit increase could be given in the next budget.
But for the record, the committee voted to support this. It's just that you voted against it. So two of your committee members voted to support this.
This
And
was
you
true.
voted against it.
Because Gary brought Todd back 2 more times
Right.
to plead his case. We did not ask for him to come to the meetings. He was brought back. And he took up our time and said, I do this, I do this.
Well, let me just stop.
Now,
Let me
that's,
just-
no, let me finish my,
No, I'm gonna interrupt you because we're not here to evaluate.
no, but I'm giving the
employees,
public
okay?
why I'm saying
Okay,
this
so-
should be lower if
But
they
the
want to
committee
vote
approved
it.
it, though.
The committee
But what you're
approved it
saying
2
is
to
that
1. That's correct.
you had a dissenting vote, then you're now trying to say,
No, I'm
should be
just
policy.
speaking my First Amendment right on what I am against this budget for the rec department.
Okay.
And that was
Understood.
my reasoning. And the fact that another person was given a raise for an interim time and then not rescinded after that time. Which I didn't think was
so you're
fair.
speaking as a member of the public.
Yes, and having the information that I did. The public doesn't have, unless they go to the meeting tape, wouldn't have all the individual information.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Those are the money articles. The Article 7 and on is a really, as I call it, somewhat housekeeping articles. The only other money article is the very last one, and that's the money that we're using out of revenues that come in, and that's what the board has voted to present to the voters. The property tax would be on top of this naturally for the balance of what's being raised.
How much is gonna be left in surplus after we use this 800?
We got $4.1 million right now.
That
Okay,
includes
and
the
I can't tell-
1.1 surplus?
I can't tell you,
Prices?
the crisis fund is part of that. I can't tell you what it's gonna be after this, because I won't know that until the audit report comes in after June 30th, okay? We got 500,000 that we're trying to use this year, okay, to burn down the fund balance, because the fund balance is too high, right?
Exactly.
It happens not because we double collected county tax. We did that once, and we paid that all back to the taxpayers, okay? So it's not why the fund balance has got there, contrary to popular belief. But every year that, you see the number of excise tax and rapid renewals, we were $1 million. We were collecting 1.2. That's $2 million that builds the fund balance the next year. If we underspend, that's money that builds the fund balance the next year. So, we ended the year last year, June 30th, at 4.1-ish, I think it is. It's in the audit report from the, you got a town report there? It's the actual report is in the town report, the audit report. So, we feel very confident that we've got that amount of funds to use. It'll depend on, did we over-collect this year, or did we underspend? Because that'll make a change in the, we should see the fund balance come down what we anticipated by using unappropriated surplus last year, or in the current budget year that we're in. But I don't know, we're ahead now on excise tax, so that's going to be money that we didn't anticipate. So things like that come in, any fines that come in, if code officers collected more in permits than what we had budgeted initially, the transfer station is ahead. Those are the kind of things that we're just going to roll in. So I think Chris could come and work his Ouija board a little bit and tell you what he thinks it might be, but I don't think that you can accurately predict what it's going to be at the end of this year. Or
We've
the
still
end
got
after.
still got a month and a half
Right.
and if 40 people bought cars, the excise tax could be above where we're predicting, and the same thing with building permits or the rescue, if they went out 4 times a day instead of 3 for the next month and a half, that income is gonna be up, so it's a washboard.
Yep.
And another point, Donna, is our CPA, our auditor, has said you could use up to $2 million. I wouldn't want to go even to $1.5 million because I'm pretty fiscally conservative. So.
Oh, to use it towards, right.
Towards taxes. So the board has chosen to go from the 500 using this year to 800 for the next year.
And the
this-
problem,
So, and I was just asking about
yeah,
how much
the
would that
problem
leave
with
us?
all of that is, if you, when we could use it all once, okay?
That
And
would be against my fiscal.
I agree. So the taxes would go down one year and everybody go, oh, this is great. Guess what's gonna happen the following year, right? Because we're gonna be in the same ballpark spending the money, even if it was a 0 increase budget. It's all gonna then go back up the next year, so it's.
And then I was just asking because we using 500 in this current year and 800 projected for the next year.
My guess
how
is the
much
500 this current year will net us maybe 3 down. And we'll still be at 3.8 or something of that nature. That's only a educated guess, because I've looked at this for a lot of years. But I don't think we'll net out the 500,000 this year out of the fund balance.
But in the $13 million budget, we put between $100,000 and maybe $300,000 that we don't spend back into surplus. And I'm pretty conservative on revenues. This man right here is making me bump those numbers up closer to 100% than...
The board is making.
Okay, the board, sorry. But excise tax has been going up 8% a year for quite a while. Rapid renewals is going up. So I think those are pretty safe numbers.
Okay?
Still rolling the dice, no matter how you
Yeah.
look at it.
Those are estimates.
We're gonna have another one of these public hearings. Anybody that, certainly can give us some feedback of the things that we should cover in the next meeting, so that we're not just saying the same thing over and over and over again. But we will be meeting, we will have another public hearing on the 22nd. So,
You talked about Saturday. What's the board's desires for it? Do you see the need for that? The desire for that?
good question. I think we could, my own fear is that we can set all that up and, you'll see half a dozen people coming here that want to register their boat, for the day instead of coming in to listen to what's going on in the budget. But
Well, the attendance here is 5 people. Thank you for coming, by the way. But it was the same, not the same people, but some of the same folks. We only had 5 at the last one, too, which is a bit disappointing.
let's go to the 22nd. We can always run one on the 2nd of June if we had to.
And the time for money articles has passed. It's a 60-day window before town meeting or the election. You talked about putting a new article in there for
Yeah, I
spending.
thought when I went to read the charter that it said that the selectmen could add something to the ballot.
60 days.
60 days? I thought it said 30, but okay, 60 days?
No, there's
The ballot
printed.
is-
Yeah, I know.
Ballot's been at the printers at this point.
Non-money articles is another word.
Yeah, another one was in there. I think the non-money article was the shortest, and that might have been 45 days.
Two.
But it had to be unanimous amongst the board.
Section 202, maybe?
And can we maybe have a little bigger notice for our meetings? That they're not just a 3.5 square in a newspaper, like maybe for the next hearing? Have something that either for that
Yeah, we can do that.
or Hollis did a full page one like that. And then this one.
We can do that. I mean, you made a comment in your letter the other day, Donna, that this was not well advertised. We sent out 3,200 flyers to everybody in town. We're on the website with all this documentation.
I don't want to tell you how many at the post office were in that recycling bin. I mean, I know it's
Can't
not
help
your
that.
fault, but that's where it tends to go.
So this says, getting back to the articles, the warrant of the annual town meeting shall be closed, the insertion of money and non-money articles 60 days prior to the annual meeting. So it's closed then. The board will be allowed with a unanimous vote to add an additional article to the warrant up to the 30 days prior to the town meeting, but it cannot be a money article. And I don't know how you, you might be able to
Yeah, and that
add
was,
it.
I was
I don't know how you do that
asking
now that we're into a ballot
It would
process.
have to be a separate ballot.
Right, it would have to be a separate ballot. Anything else? If not, I'll declare this meeting closed, and we'll move on to the rest of the business. And thank you all for coming. Pardon? It's on the 30th. Okay, let's move on here. Any additions, deletions to the agenda? Go ahead.
I have one, Mr. Chairman. I've been,
Okay, folks.
yeah,
Yeah.
Richard.
Sorry.
No, these are good microphones, so they'll pick everything else you said. Pick up everything you said. I've been on the Legislative Policy Committee for 2 years, representing Senate District 33. It's 2 people from every Senate district in the state. Steve Buck, the city manager in Sanford, is automatically, not automatically, but Sanford gets 1 rep. And I would like to do that again. I love that deliberative process, and I would need to be approved by the majority of folks in Cornish, Limerick, Newfield, Parsonsfield, Shapley, as well as Waterboro.
So the Senate district.
Yes.
Right.
So if you would like to have me serve again, you could make that motion, and Dennis can sign the paper tonight.
Well, let's put it on the agenda first. So
Okay, yep.
I'd entertain a motion to add the nomination form to the Legislative Policy Committee for MMA as item 9B.
So moved.
So moved is second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? So add 9B nomination for Legislative Policy Committee for MMA. I skipped over announcements. Any announcements from the board? We have no appointments. Public comments. Correspondence, treasurer's reports. We've got treasurer's reports and the motor vehicle and excise tax reports are in. Selectmen's reports. Dwayne, anything?
I have nothing.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing at this time.
What?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay. And we'll catch Gary when he gets back in. Let's go to new business. Discuss vote to approve and sign a municipal quitclaim deed for tax map 047 lot 132.
It's a
Paid
tax
the-
lien,
Paid the taxes.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
What is this for?
They paid their taxes. They have a lien that they're clearing. They paid their
Okay,
taxes.
all right.
This is just signing it back over to them.
They were sending it back to them.
Okay.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Nomination form for Gary to participate as the district's legislative policy committee in MMA. So I'd entertain a motion to sign his paper.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's done. He's got to get the other towns to approve it anyway. Old business, continued discussion on tax acquired property. Wait for Gary on that one. Update on site visit to town-owned North Waterboro land. That's on Gary as well. If he comes back in here, we'll deal with that. Discuss vote to approve the minutes of the April 24th regular meeting.
So moved.
Been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Week's action list?
You made that yellow folder in so I can sign that before I leave.
Certainly. Let me just jump back. Gary's report, he can, I'm going to read this. I think, Community Center Steering Committee, the fourth meeting of the Steering Committee was May 7th. 8 of the 9 members attended. Considerable discussion on revisiting the March 19th visioning session. They're looking at developing a Facebook presence. I think member Tanya Thayer is working that. And I think I saw in his email that there's a visit, trying to get a visit to St. Joseph's College athletic facility.
We're going to go to a variety of places.
Pickup truck, the order, they approved new pickup truck. Low bidder was Arundel Ford. Arundel was $29,558. So that is now done. Ballot update. The digital version, I think we've looked at here tonight. Historical Society and Fire Station land clearing. The stumps have all been pulled now. The stumps are cleared over there. Doug Fugler has agreed at no charge to the town to deposit the stumps at the stump processing facility. And we're going to hire Dana Brown to grind the remaining stumps. Not be able to complete all the stumps until after July 1st. Election updates. I think Gary has talked about where he has sent everything. And again, I would ask that that we any feedback that we can get on what we discuss at the next hearing. We're looking at June 12th, and Gary can bring that back to us. He wants to make a suggestion that we close the front lobby on June 12th, which is election day. Yes.
I'll put that under,
Pardon?
We already voted on that.
All right, we voted on that already.
We voted to close it.
Okay. Any items you'd like to see on the agenda next time? I think we had
I
some
think we
things.
need a workshop on that town-owned property before we get too much farther into.
Well, I think that's what he's trying to figure out, is
Yeah.
that's what he's trying to look at, what it is, what we have, what he has.
Yeah,
But it's gonna take a discussion.
yeah. A workshop to
Yeah.
lay this all out and see where it is and how many possibilities of life in the property.
Anything else? Sherry, do we have anything on the agenda for next, other than the public hearing?
Well, one of the thoughts about that property was having an executive session. Having an executive session even before.
Map and lot numbers, I don't think we have to have an executive session on it because it's public information. We shouldn't be hiding anything. As long
Yeah, I
as we
wouldn't think
handle it with maps and lots, but if we go into a workshop, it's open to the public, but it won't be aired.
Right. We'd record it for,
Right, we'll
Records.
record it if anybody wants
That
to
was just
review
a
it.
question.
yeah, we'll have to sort that out with Gary.
In the public hearing again.
If we're gonna mention somebody's name,
Yeah.
then yes, they need to be contacted, but in most cases, everything is map and lot number, and that's why we need to take a workshop to find out if somebody is actually living on the property.
Okay. What else? I think he's down to the handful of the tax lien properties, right? I mean, he's visited everything, and I think there are some people living on
And
some of the
Sherry
properties.
visited some, Shirley's visited some as well.
Okay.
That's what we need to do before the end of the fiscal year.
He has that information, I don't know if he's given it to you.
Yeah, we had the list, and I think,
This was the new one that was in the packet.
okay,
It's got pictures and so forth.
yeah, I couldn't get into the packet, David.
Yeah, did you?
I'll talk, I didn't get a chance, but
Okay.
all of a sudden it's gone. What else? If nothing else, then,
I got one announcement.
yep,
June 9th, celebration of life for Bimmy or Andy Woodson down here to the Snowmobile Club. Everybody's invited.
okay,
It'll be from 2 o'clock on in the afternoon
On the Saturday.
on a Saturday,
Okay.
so,
What was the hours?
2 to 6 or so. I will feed everybody that shows up, so.
okay,
What was the date on that again, please?
June 9th,
June 9th. Okay.
Saturday, June 9th.
It's a celebration.
Of life.
What time is that again, Glenn?
2 to 6.
After 2.
2 to, yeah, after
Yeah.
2.
Is
And,
it Jimmy and Randy?
no.
Bimmy or Andy, whoever.
Andy.
Same
Yeah.
person?
People
Same
call him Andy,
person,
some people
but
call
2
him
different
Bimmy.
names.
And if you haven't got a town report yet, they are out. If you want to pick them up, and this year's report was dedicated to Andy Bimmy Woodson. So
That guy.
that kind of it. Anything else? Not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?